defined airspace for which QNH forecasts are prepared routinely, and the aircraft must be cruising at or below 10,000 feet. When flight planning or in flight, the zones correspond to the area forecast boundaries. This is found on Air Service Australia's Planning Chart Australia, also known as a PCA chart. The area QNH is valid for a period of 3 hours and applies throughout an area QNH zone, also known as AQZ. In other words, each specified area has its own QNH and is representative of any location within a particular area. The altimeter, when set to this, will indicate the height above median sea level. Local QNH is set off a weather station located within 100 nautical miles of the aircraft. This information can be found by the use of an ATIS, an AWIS, or an aerodrome forecast known as a TAF. It may also be set by setting the altimeter subscale to indicate airfield elevation above mean sea level. In other words, this is the QNH around the specific place and 100 nautical miles around it. And if the local QNH is known, it should be used.
QFE is the pressure set on the subscale of the altimeter so that the instrument indicates its height above the reference elevation being used. This means your altimeter will read 0 on the highest point on the runway, and at other altitudes it will read the height above the airfield elevation. For example, if you set the subscale to 0 feet, when on the ground, this gives you your QFE. Standard pressure. If flying in the standard pressure region, the altimeter reference must be 1013.2 hectopascals, or the standard pressure is the datum that will be used. This is used to separate aircraft using QNH from the aircraft that are using standard pressure, which are flying above 10,000 feet, which is called the transition altitude.
The procedures that are carried out with the altimeter at the transition altitude of 10,000 feet and the transition layer on climb and descent. At or below 10,000 feet, you use the local QNH or the current QNH. When climbing, the position to change between QNH and 1013.2 hectopascals shall always be in the standard pressure region on climb after passing 10,000 feet and prior to levelling off. The transition layer, also known as the transition level, is flight level 110 to flight level 125. This means 11,000 feet to 12,500 feet. This layer depends on the value of the QNH, and it must be noted that cruising in the transition layer is not permitted. For further help with altimetry, please have a look at the figures in the altimetry section of our report.